Welcome back to Jimmy de Ville's Garage and episode 4 of the Barn Find Fergie project. In this episode, Gav and I are yet again working to rebuild the bottom half of our 1953 Ferguson TEF's engine. This week, we're hoping to get to grips with the crank, but you know what? After the last episode, who knows what's about to happen. This old tractor seems to have a special way of letting Gav and I know the speed at which this restoration should take place. Are we restoring it, or is it restoring us? One thing is for certain, we're on this journey together. We're back, and it was fair to say that at a point during the last episode we didn't think we were going to be.
No.
But that miracle happened, and within a 24-hour period we found those new housings for the main bearings for the crank. So we're back in the game.
And here they are.
And here they are.
But there is a couple of issues, possibly, with these. Number one, these are made from a different material. We think these are cast iron, whereas the old ones were like cast magnesium or aluminium. Secondly, we're going to have to do some serious measurements of these bearings and the crank to make sure the tolerances are all okay and that things aren't too worn out. But hopefully, should go back together okay.
So hopefully we're going to be taking out the old crank today, changing the housings, checking the bearings and getting it back together, but who knows what could happen. We've also got a whole host of other jobs we could be getting on with if this falls at the first hurdle.
Yep.
So how are we going to find out if they fit, Gav?
We just got to get on with it.
We have got to get on with it. Here we go.
So on this particular engine, the crankshaft comes out at the end. So the first thing we need to do is remove this clutch, then the flywheel, and hopefully we can get it out.
That's the clutch friction and pressure plate out, and they're both looking in great condition. Time for us to crack on removing the flywheel.
Oh, you bugger.
They do seem to always come out in the end.
Yeah, it looks like a crack on this flywheel here. Have a better look at that when we get it off. Oh yeah, she's coming.
Yeah, she's coming. She's coming.
Right.
You got it.
Okay.
Time mark at the top.
Okay, there's a locating down.
Okay, that's all good.
We're happy, yeah?
Yeah. Flywheel off. You liking that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that noise? Yeah.
Smash out of your reps with that. Hey, you're not telling me out, mate.
You stuck
me.
Gosh. You got it. After some good exercise and further inspection, we both feel that the hairline crack is only superficial and nothing to worry about. What are your thoughts on it? We'd love to hear in the comments section down below.
So we think now it's just this ring of bolts left. Take the seal carrier away and hopefully the crank should pull out this end of the engine. Fingers crossed.
With all the bolts out, it's time to see if this crank is coming out. Yeah, it's already opened it up. Go on, go again. Go on. Yeah, it's moving now. Yeah, it's going now. Oh yeah, she's moving fast. Yep. Oh! Oh shit. Oh, crank's out, Gav. Crank is out.
It's a crankshaft, my friend. Albeit with them.
Jeez, look at that. Gone. after inspecting the engine block to make sure there is no more corrosion damage. It's time to get on righting some wrongs and getting this crank back in the game.
So now we've got the crank out on the table, you can really see the damage that acidic sludge had done to these bearing carriers, completely eating them away. So the first job we're going to do is remove these bearing carriers, have a good measure up of our journals and our new carriers, and hopefully put it back together. That's ugly. There goes the shell. That's the seal carrier. Oh, look at that. Yummy. That's all the remains of those old bearing carriers.
So we've had a good measure up of the crank, and you know what? It isn't looking too bad, is it?
No, it's not too bad at all actually. We've measured up the main journals, which all check out okay. However, they are 10 thou.
Why has there always got to be a however?
There is with this tractor.
There's always a however. Right, so they're 10 thou
Undersize it.
From the original specification in the manual, they're 10 thou smaller than they should be.
So this crank has had a regrind in the past, which is cool. That all checks out, and it sort of adds up with what we're finding on the shells here, which has got stamped on the back plus 10 thou.
So that's under 10 thou, they're over 10 thou. So the two still go together just perfectly.
Yes. So that's great, but these are toast.
I told you there's always however. So it's not great, is it?
No.
They're knackered. So these bearings are absolutely smoked, and you can see there the surface is just nasty. Yeah, they're done for. Which means one thing, doesn't it, Gav?
We've got to replace these bad boys.
Yeah, which means something bad for my bank account, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because I've got to get some money out and go and buy some new ones. But you know what? They're not bad. I think they're about £15 for a whole new set. So that's all we can do for today.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go and order some from the internet, and once we've got them, we should be able to get this crank back together. So I suggest we have an early knockoff.
Yep.
Go and get those bearings ordered. Do not do other things on the internet that are wrong. And we get back here as soon as we can to get this crank back together.
Yeah.
Right, shall we get off and do that?
Let's go.
All right, see you later, crank. There's always an however. Oh. So we're back.
Yep.
And we have finally some nice shiny things to go on this engine, don't we?
Yeah, look at these beautiful shiny bearing shells.
They are, I mean, now we have them, they are so different from the old ones, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, look at the difference in those.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. And you know what, reasonable, it's just £15 for a whole set to do this crank. I think that was probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, money well worth spending. So what do we need to do now, Gav?
We just got to fit them up, haven't we? Just see if they fit.
Just got to fit them up.
Yeah.
If this engine has taught us anything, just fitting them up will not be the case. But yes, all you need to do now is stick them on there and see how these are going to fit. But fingers crossed, we should now finally be turning a corner and be starting to get this engine back together again.
Let's hope so, mate.
Right, well come on then, let's get on getting them on. I mean, does it even... Oh,
well, that's a good start, isn't it?
It goes on. It's really important that because we're putting new housings and bearings together that we gauge it, isn't it, Gav?
Yeah, so there's clearances between these bearings and the journal, and we need to check those clearances, and each clearance has a tolerance. So we're going to use plastigauge.
Plastigauge we are.
Which is a slightly different way of doing things, measuring with a micrometer to check those clearances, and check those clearances are within tolerance.
Yeah, and the tolerances for this engine are between 4 thou and 2.5 thou. So this is the product plastigauge we're using, and it comes with a little kind of reader which has the size we want, and there's 2.5 thou to 4 thou. So when we use the product, we want it to be within this area. Now what it is a small plastic filament, and essentially you put it between the bearings and squish it, and how wide it squishes to is the gap and we want it to be within that size, don't we?
Yeah.
Essentially, this bit of the show is a bit new for us because this is a bit like engine cooking with Gav and Jimmy, but we thought this is something that's well worth showing you because you need to get this right, otherwise you'll very quickly turn an engine into a bag of bones, and we don't want that to happen.
Well, no, hopefully not, no.
Right, so we've already got the new shell in there, and it's sat on half a housing. We're now going to put the plastigauge in the top here. So to do that, just get a little bit of grease and smear it on the top, and all that does is hold the plastigauge in place. This is the plastigauge, and it's just, like I say, a really fine filament. There are different sizes of it, but this is the right size to give us the right tolerance for this engine. Snap a tiny bit off, and it just gets laid on the top right there, just in the grease.
Right, so now I put the top bearing housing on with the shell in, and that should squish that plastigauge down. You've got to be really careful here not to squish it down before you're ready.
You also need to make sure that nothing moves here which could kind of smear the plastigauge about, so just keep everything nice and still.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly tighten these down, but I will torque these down. So they're snug. Now this torque wrench is set up to, well, it calls out in the book for between 25 and 30 pounds a foot. So I've sort of said it's right in the middle.
So here we go now. Now Gav's going to torque it down. As he torques it down, it's going to squish that plastigauge, which should give us the tolerance. And like I said, we want it between 4 thou and 2.5 thou on this gauge. Go on, Gav. Oh, lovely.
Try and stop it from moving.
You're right.
Yeah. That was
Right, torque down. Do it up, undo it. Let's have a look what we find. So just like cooking, our plastigauge pie has been in the oven, and hopefully it's cooked to perfection, and we're going to get it within the right tolerance. You ever do much cooking, Gav?
No.
You're not
really,
cooking?
no.
You were telling me you like to cook a bit of fish now and then.
Oh, fish, yeah, I like fish, yeah. Fish and chips. Right, these should undo by hand now.
Always nervous, because if this is wrong, we've got problems, haven't we?
Yeah.
A little bit nerve-wracking. This feels like there needs to be some sort of drum roll.
Oops. Right, now carefully lift this away. Come on. Here we go.
Where is it? Oh, you've got it on the bottom and the top. Let's go on the top. Oh, it's broken away a bit. Well, you can still see how wide it is. So it's looking good though, Gav. So it's smeared. It's gone off a bit, but you can still see the edge. That is around 3 thou. It's certainly smeared it wider than 4 thou. So we're around about 3 thou.
Mm-hmm.
So we're within tolerance.
Yeah.
We need to be between 4 and 2.5, as I said. So that bearing on that journal looking good.
Yeah, it's looking alright.
We then went on to check the rest of the bearings, and everything is within tolerance. It's finally time to get the crank and housings built back up.
Can I help you go the distance? Because honey, that's the plan. What kind of man do you think I am? I'll tell you, darling, I'm the man who can. You know all those things about love that you've been told. I'll tell them to you every day and now till I'm old. Oh, can you go the distance? You know I hope you can. Or will you go the distance? Because, honey, that's the plan.
I want someone beside me through the wind and rain. And if you are that lucky guy, you stand a lot to gain. It's gonna have its ups and downs, gonna be a bumpy ride. You'll find that if you stick around, I'll be right by your side. Well, can you go the distance, baby? I hope you can. I help you go the distance because, honey, that's the plan.
Life's a journey, but we think that it be need. Taking turns at being in the driving seat. You know I'll wear your ring of love of sacred blessed gold. I hear you say you love me from now until I'm old. So we can stick together, this woman and this man. Overcoming all resistance is such a sinful plan.
So we can go the distance, darling. I know we can. Can we go, go, go?
the distance. Oh, darling, I know we can.
There we have it. Our crank is now fully rebuilt with new old housings and brand new bearings ready to go back into our engine.
But there's always a but with this.
There is always,
this
especially with
tractor.
you, Gav, there's always a but.
This engine's a little unusual in the fact that this crank has to go in from the end of the block rather than up from underneath. So that means that our liners and pistons have got to go in first, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. They've got to go in first. But the good news to that is that means I finally get to open my big old box.
Hang on there, Jimmy. Yet again.
Killjoy alert.
These liners we've got, we think there might be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, we do.
Because it's an early engine, we might have to do a little bit of modification on them.
Yeah, it turns out our engine's a bit of a rare old beast. It was one of the very early ones, and things changed. The liners might be different, so let's go get them out of the box. I can open my box, and we'll have a look and see what might need to be done. Time to open the box?
Let's open that box.
You do not know how long I have been wanting to do this, Gav.
Like a kid at Christmas.
It's unheard of. A nice big box, and I've not opened it. Finally, nice shiny bits for this engine. There and there. And there. Right, what is that? Right, so we've got in here, this is a complete engine rebuild kit. The pistons came separately, but in here we have got valve guys, valve springs, so that looks like everything to do the head. Liners, 4 liners, and then gaskets. Gaskets, top half, gaskets, and bottom half. So should be everything here. Plus we've got pistons. I know they came in a separate box to rebuild this engine.
Cool. I need to look at them liners.
Yeah, liners. So they're the next thing that goes in, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look at that. I do love a little bit of greaseproof paper. Right, so this is probably where our next set of problems are going to lie. I know you've been desperate to get your hands on one of those.
Thank you. So, these are our lovely new liners, but there is a bit of an issue with them. So, straight away, you can probably see, between the old one and the new one, the lip is a lot thinner on the old one than it is the new one. You can't get these anymore, so you've got to work with these. So we know that some people have machined the cuff rings down to allow you to use this thicker lipped liner, but we're not really happy with that because it means that the whole stack would sit proud into the pre-combustion area here in the cylinder block. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a go at machining this lip down on this new liner on my lathe and see if we can get it to fit.
You've been desperate to give yourself some homework, haven't you, Gav?
Especially on the lathe.
You just want to take those home and put them under your pillow, you know do. That means we're going to do something else to finish off this episode, and that thing is right here. We haven't yet tackled this central console, which is the dash, air filter, and all this sort of area here, which is all rusty and pretty nasty. We've actually got some new old bits to replace to go in here, so I think now it's time for me and you to get on stripping this lot out. Should we get on with it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'll go down.
You came to town just to make trouble, up and round from bed to bed. Got no friends left and
That's the inlet air filter off.
the whole town seeing red. You got a truck,
Shortly followed by the auxiliary fuel tank and bird's nest.
you got love, you got the body of nature, you got the face that you deserve.
Those are the dual fuel filters off in one piece. The wiring is all labelled up and follows shortly behind. These panels have some serious corrosion and are gonna need a lot of love to put them right.
Where you get your wicked ways, you spend your days doing nothing. You spend your nights doing the streets. You gotta trust.
Gentle persuasion is definitely the order of the day.
You got love, you got the body of an angel. You got the face that you deserve.
Until it becomes time to bring some heat.
Loving like a weapon, but you're the loser every time. You're the loser every time. You gotta try.
That's everything disconnected. We should now be able to lift the centre console clear of the Fergie.
You got the body of an angel. You got the face that you deserve.
Sadly, that is the end of episode 4, and yet again, Gav and I have 100% totally failed to rebuild the bottom half of this engine. But it's not all doom and gloom, we have made some really good progress. That crank is now completely rebuilt with new bearings and housings, and it is looking $1 million, if I dare say so myself.
Yep.
You've also got yourself some homework, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm going to take the new liners home, see if I can machine them down to the same as this, so they'll fit in the block.
Yeah, so hopefully you'll be joining us again in the next episode when we'll be fitting custom liners and then pistons to this block. We'll also be fitting the crank, and if we get really lucky, this block might be going back on to the bell housing.
Yep.
Also in this episode, a happy thing, we've removed all of this detritus here, and you've got to admit it is now looking a lot better. It's looking like it's had the sort of facelift you and I both need. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed, mate, definitely.
What a pair of messes. Anyway, if you've liked what you've seen and you've got any thoughts or comments, please leave them down below. Also, please hit subscribe and the little bell icon so you know the next time we release an episode. Until then, happy tractoring, and from Gav and I, we'll catch you later. Welcome back to Jimmy de Ville's Garage, and episode 3 is 4. It's definitely 4.
You ever eaten Turkish?
You trying to make me say something stupid again?
No, I would not do that.
I'm not playing your silly games. I've got a crank to remove. I've never eaten turkey. What does kebab count as turkey?
No, well, it depends if it's Greek or Turkish kebab.
No, never had turkey. Welcome to Engine Cooking with Gav and Jimmy. Today we're cooking up some shims. They're plus 10 thou and I find them very tasty.
Do you need any help?
I am a bit of a dancer, you know. Seriously. Yeah, the old. I was into my dance music, mate.
He calls me his little.
I can make some shapes, yeah.
I call him my thingamajig.
I can do Running Man.
Can you? You could do Running Man.
Okay. That was just a big turd.
Just a big turd? I thought that was brilliant.
No help wanted. Could you use a little help? No help once. All on